Hey, it's Benson here in my studio with a quick tip and tutorial that I haven't seen anybody else make. So I hope it's helpful. It is regarding this Boss RC300, but if you don't have this, you might have another pedal that can do something similar. And what I want to show you is how you can use that pedal as a way of reamping audio, which means sending audio from your DAW or your computer through all of your guitar pedals and back into your computer. And this is useful for a number of things. And for example, if I have this really boring keyboard and I want to apply a bunch of effects pedals that I have kicking around, I can very easily do that with the click of a button. And I'll show you how to set this up in a sec. So if I click this monitor, there you can hear. So you can get way more creative with sounds, a little too creative maybe. I'm going to delete these tracks and show you step by step how to do that. But it's not just for sending software instruments through analog equipment. You can do this with vocals. You could record some vocals and run them through a bunch of cool effects. You could do it with an electric guitar. And you might wonder, why not just plug the guitar through the pedals and record directly into your computer? Well, the nice thing with this is that you can record a dry and wet track simultaneously. So you could record your electric guitar into your computer and simultaneously have that going out through your pedals and back into your computer also, so that let's say you're recording a really heavy song and you want your, all your metal pedals on your guitar, but you also want a backup file of just what the clean track sounded like. You can do that. And there's a whole bunch of applications for this. The other thing that's useful is that, let's say I record electric guitar and I've got a good take, I can actually have my hands on the pedals, and as it's playing through my computer, I can modulate, let's say turn up the delay on that pedal, or play around with the pedals and kind of basically automate in an analog way, automate the effects and have them, the automations baked in, and you can experiment a lot more this way. So anyway, those are the benefits of reamping. Usually you have to buy a dedicated device for that. But if you have a pedal like this that has a USB to computer option that can be used as a audio interface, then you're probably in luck, because this pedal can take a digital signal from my computer and convert it into the right type of analog signal for guitar effects pedals, which is perfect. And I haven't heard anybody talking about this, so I think it's a little bit of a gem. By the way, you don't have to have a giant pedal like this. Like, even if you want a Boss loop pedal, they make way smaller ones now, and I believe that they still can do this same thing. So how do we do it? Well, as you can see, normally when I create like a software instrument, if you go over to the left here and select the output, it's going to be set to stereo output. If I click on that, I have this extra option now, and I'll show you how to make it, which is this reamp output. And so if I click that, it's going to actually send my signal, rather than coming out of my speakers, it's going to get sent to my pedal board. So how the heck do you do that? Well, that's the part that kind of feels a little bit intimidating if you're not a computer person like me. I'm not a computer person. But every Mac comes with this program called Audio MIDI Setup. If you need to find it, you can just go up to the top toolbar, hit search, type in Audio MIDI Setup. There, it's right there. Click that. It opens the software. Now I've already got one made, but I'm going to show you how to do this from scratch. So what you want to do is you want to make sure, first of all, that your effects pedal is plugged with a USB cord into your computer and that it's turned on, lit up, all is well. Your regular audio interface that connects to your speakers is also connected to your computer. And then you go to the bottom left corner of this software and you hit Create Devices, and then you want to click Create Aggregate Device. Once you click that, it's going to open up this list of all the different devices that your computer is connected to. And so the first thing you want to do is click Use next to your main audio interface, which again for me is the Audient ID14. So I find Audient ID14, I click Use. Then I want to find my reamp pedal, which is the Boss RC300. That's what this pedal right here is Boss RC300. So I'm going to click use. Now that's pretty much all you have to do. It's automatically checked this box called drift correction next to my secondary audio interface. And that's good. So one thing that I want to quickly mention is you can see up here, it displays all of the input and output channels for each one. And it does this nice color coding for you. The reason this is helpful is because Logic isn't automatically going to label. I'll show you in a sec, actually. It's not automatically going to label for you which outputs correspond to which audio device. So the way you can figure it out is if you look at this output channel section right here, the blue ones are 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I know that outputs 1, 2, and 3, 4 are going to go to the various outputs on the back of my primary audio interface. And if I want to send signal out to my pedal board, I need to select channels 5 and 6 because they're green. So if you have an audio interface that only has like 2 outputs, like this one, then the ID4 is only going to have 2 blue outputs, and then you would select channels 3 and 4 for reamping. And you could have any number depending what audio interface. I just wanted to mention that. The other thing that's useful is that you can rename it by double clicking. And so I've already done one right here, and I've renamed it Audient ID 14 plus RC300 guitar pedal aggregate, so that there's no confusion at all when I go into Logic. Now you'll notice when I go into Logic, it's going to prompt me to use the new aggregate that I just made, but I'm in this case not going to because I already made one, as I just said. So if you ever want to make sure that you have the right one, go up to Logic Pro, then go to Settings, Audio, and then under your output and input devices, if you've labeled it in the Audio MIDI setup software, you'll see the one that you made. So there it is. It's selected for my input and output, which is important. All right, so most of your work is done. Your computer will remember this, so you don't have to do it every time, which is really nice. Now, how do you get it actually physically set up to work? So this is my regular, just created a new track. In fact, let me delete that and just make it a new software track so it's like super easy for you to follow along. So let's say I create a software instrument. I could do this with an audio instrument too, but this is a little bit simpler. So the output by default will be stereo output, which is tracks 1 and 2. However, as we just established, I want to change that by clicking on stereo output, output. I want to change it to tracks 5 and 6. I'll show you after how I labeled that, but that really doesn't matter. I click on 5 and 6, and now if I play my keyboard, I don't know what's happening. That shouldn't, oh, the reason I can hear that is because there are these sends. So I'm just hearing the reverb sends. I'll get rid of those. Sorry about that. But I shouldn't be able to hear anything because the output is going to my guitar pedals, but not going anywhere from there. In order to get it back into my computer, I have to record it through this audio interface. So just simple explanation again, audio is coming out of my computer through a USB cable, into the USB on here, out through a 1/4 inch cable, into my guitar pedal chain, which is a little crazy right now. Whatever setup you want, then back out through another 1/4 inch or patch cable, and then into this audio interface. So it's coming back into my computer through channel 1 on my Audient, which means I have to create a new track, and it has to be an audio track. And I want to make sure that the input is set to input 1. So this will now record as an audio wave file, the audio. One thing I wanted to mention is that on here, you have gain. So if it's clipping, you can adjust the gain on this master output. Depending how you have it set up or what pedal it is, it might be some of these sliders as well. But that's kind of actually handy that you can adjust that. One other thing I'll mention really quickly is that I don't have proper clean power supplies on this. So you'll actually hear, if I turn this on and crank it, there's some pretty bad digital noise. That won't be the case if you actually have a clean power supply for your pedals. That's just an issue with the electricity in this room. So just keep that in mind. But overall, as opposed to using like an analog reamp, this is really clean because it's taking the signal digitally and converting it through into analog. So it's actually a really good solution. Anyway, now that I have that all set up, again, the software instrument is going out through channels 5 and 6, back into my computer in a new track through input 1, stereo output for that track so I can hear it through my speakers. And it's that simple. I just have to make sure that the record button is clicked on the original track and on here as well. And like, there you have it. You could apply whatever effects you want to whatever instrument you want. Again, I love it for vocals. I love it for doing all kinds of crazy things. And one other thing that I'll show you that I mentioned is that you can label the track, the output. So the way that I have it so that when I click output and see reamp output is by going up to mix, coming down to IO labels, and then scrolling down to the one that is 5 and 6, and then you can rename it there. So that's pretty much all you have to know, and just hit record. If I hit record, what you'll see is the MIDI will be recorded and the audio will be recorded, and you can do this as many times as you want and get all kinds of great results. So hope this was helpful, and go make some music.